What's going on, everybody? It's CryptoVision here, back again with another crypto market update. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Ethereum. We're going to be looking at some Ethereum Bitcoin charts, maybe a little bit of Ethereum dominance chart. So, if you like today's video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. Let's get into it. We're looking at Ethereum here on the weekly chart. We got some red. We got red across the board for pretty much all crypto. What about traditional stocks? Traditional stocks, some of them are doing actually fairly well, but still good amount of red. Good amount of red still on traditional stocks. You know, you got tariff fears, you got this, you got that. AMD is doing pretty well. There's a couple other stocks on here. Intel has been absolutely ripping, down from like $18, $17 up to $50 now. So there's a lot of good opportunities back from the April lows for traditional stocks, but I mean, BTOG's, that thing split. I got rid of BTOG. It's showing 4,600%, but that's not correct. It's wrong. In general, though, we're seeing some red across the board, and then, you know, red across the board. Besides silver and gold, everything's kind of been red, but in terms of the Ethereum price, right, we're still, it's just kind of grindy right now. It kind of just looks like this zone down through here, right? We've talked about that before. How it's just you're making higher lows, right through here, making higher lows, and then you get this little pump. But it was it was a considerable amount of time of consolidation, right? From we'll take this low all the way to right before breakout. It was 8 bars included, so 8 bars. I think it's actually 9, but I'll start right here with 8. So this is a little bit longer. This is the 9th. Is this a bullish week? I don't think so. I mean, it is going to be one of the rare, wickless bearish candles. I don't know how many we've had. It's only what is today? Tuesday? It's only Tuesday. Okay, it's only Tuesday, so there's still plenty of room to work. I'm just trying to find some bearish candles. That had a little wick. Did this have like a tiny little wick? That's what we need to see. Yeah, it did. Okay, so it's not completely wickless, right? No, that's completely wickless. So completely wickless candle. And what precedes them is typically not good. All right, wickless candle, and then you just tanked. So you don't want a wickless candle to the downside. They rarely happen. You know, we've got one back in, I don't think that's one. It has like a baby wick. Yeah, I know you see it. It's tiniest wicks. I mean, we can count, both of those kind of are the same. So littlest, tiniest wicks, not great to see. There was no reversal anytime soon for something like that. It was down for a while. Same thing with this right here. This is a wickless candle. It's not wickless, but it's pretty damn near close. That's what we got going on right now. We got a wickless candle. Got to call it as I see it. It's still making a higher low. Still making higher lows. Making higher highs. It is in this funnel. It is in this, bear flagged style. But it's going on for a while now. So if if we invert this chart, you got your A, you got your B, you got your C, and is this the breakout? We can kind of check that out. Let's do that real quick. Let's do something like this. I don't want to do it like something like that. Rejected off there before. Let's keep this on the weekly though. Then we'll come back and check it. I'll update it on the Discord. Make sure everyone is updated. Go right here. We'll do something like this right there. Something simple. Okay, if we have the, if we're taking this low to high, so we got a 1, 2. What's an ABC for a third? If this is the fourth, right, we'll take the 2 low, 1, 2. We'll come up. Very shallow correction. If this is, going to the downside, very shallow correction, only to the 382. That's pretty shallow. If I'm being honest, that's pretty shallow. That's, indicative of a large move to either the upside or the downside. So we're looking at it inverted. So this would be down, right? This would be up. Okay. The fact that you're finding some resistance at the 100 is kind of the saving grace. If I'm being honest, saving grace for us to think bullish. We're closing down below this 4,200, like really bullish. Like these are some levels. This 35 level, we haven't been able to really close and hold above it. 34, same kind of situation. But for us to really think bullish, we need to close down below here, because then we're invalidating this 1-2, right? So you close down below. Is that 42 something? Because this keeps kind of going sideways and dipping, so we're going to move this slightly right to there. Cool, 35.86. I mean, this 31.49. Oh, no. Don't do that. I just want to check this out, how it aligns with price on either side. I don't think it makes a huge difference. It's the 236. It is the 236. I do want to invert this now. There we go. Okay. 618 is 39.64. I mean, if I'm being honest, I got to figure out what the heck is going on, because that's what I like to do. So I'm either thinking about, so this 35.86, I'm thinking about putting it right at the 382. If I'm being real, because if we come up to this 382 and close above this 382, it's typically a sign that we're going to at least reach for the 618. Right, at least to the 618. That'd be a big area, but as of right now, yeah, it's, the more, so you have bullish posturing, you have bullish indicators, you have bullish momentum, and it's just, there's nothing done about it. It's completely sold off. I know there's some scary tariff stuff going on, as always. It's kind of been like that. It's kind of been a whirlwind of political landscape that we've been dealing with. That's why gold and silver has been doing so great. Once that gets all sorted out, we'll see. In terms of what we got going on with the Fu Manchu, by the way, the Fu Manchu is completely free. It's right through there. Don't need to pay for it. It's very similar to the MACD. It's not showing any red dot. It's not really showing anything, actually. Stochastics are going sideways. Momentum has just remained not bearish, not bullish. It's kind of just going sideways, if you've noticed, over the last 2 weeks. Going sideways. Same thing for the MACD. Stochastics, I mean, they're a little pointed down. But nothing crazy. RSI, it's not great to get across down below. That's not great at all. That's really bad, actually. Really bad, just in terms of the shape of what it looks like. It's kind of, it's like telling us a story that, this is gonna break down, that this price is gonna break down. That's kind of that's the story that it's telling right now. I'm trying to see something similar. I mean, we've had some similarities with price action, what's going on, but the crypto market is so manipulated. Until something changes in that regard, it's kind of hard to, put a pinpoint down on what is actually going on. But price is indicating that, it can sustain bullish momentum for now. We might need to come down for a complete reset. Come down through here, come down to this 27 area, bounce, set up like a 1-2 or something. It's been pretty grindy. It's been pretty choppy. Come down through here, reset. Still keep your 1-2 intact. The 1-2 is still intact. I know I sound, I'm leaning bearish, and that's towards the short-term price action. If this can't sustain, you come down through here, you close out a 1-2, and then you can go. right? Until we close down below on a weekly below what 27.96, whatever this is, the open is 28.01. Right, until we close down below there. This is still validated. The longer it goes sideways, the better for us. I kind of don't want it to grind up slow like this anymore. It's kind of okay. You've made your decision. You're not gonna bounce. You're not gonna come up here and bounce and break out. It's time for just to go sideways, maybe come down a little bit and then go up. Kind of like what Bitcoin, the idea for Bitcoin is for right now. Hold 80, I think it's 88,000, 89,000, and don't close below that. Go sideways, go down a little bit, correct. Just don't close below that on the weekly, and things will look good. In terms of the daily, same kind of concept. I mean, really aggressively sold off. Aggressively sold off. Do we have bearish divergence? We have bearish divergence. All right, bearish divergence. You got lower highs in RSI, higher highs in price. Okay, so what that's telling me is people are immediately selling. People are immediately selling. There is very little holders, buying and holding. It's all leverage, and leverage is just really quick, right? They're buying and they're selling. They're buying and they're selling. They're buying and they're selling. Very quick, timing it. I don't think that's really the case. What I think more so is, you got a lot of people who have bought maybe over the past, maybe last year or something, and once they get to a certain target, they're just, you know what, I'm out of crypto. I think a lot of people are just, because there's not a lot of volume going on. It's they're buying it through ETFs. They're not they're not buying in spot, and that's it. So it's come down to this, maybe this 800 EMA. That would be ideal. Come down to there and then figure out what we're going to do moving on from here. So in terms of what the EMAs are showing, the EMAs are showing bearish posture once again. All right, we tried to get up and bounce, but we couldn't. We've lost the 50 and the 20 EMA on the daily. But I keep saying you can't close down below this 2,700. You can come down. That's totally fine. Totally fine. Come down. Do your thing. Especially like down through here. Like this looks a lot nicer than this. This looks over here. This looks ugly. We don't want that. We want this. So we want this to be the 1-2. We want this to be your A, B, C, and then you're pretty much wick down to where the invalidation zone of your fourth wave could be, right? If we're dealing with something different. So if this is the wave 1 termination point right through here, do I have? I do. 2790, because I need the 2790. I'm trying to figure out, I do want to put something right through there. Right through here. So we can come back, check it out, make sure. It's right there. It is. It's like right there. So, yeah, right there. So it's definitely testing our patience. So we definitely could be in a, this 1-2 A, B, C for a third, coming down for a fourth. This looks like a third wave for sure. How aggressive this is. This is like a third wave for sure. Ideally you could be in that. Second case is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're in a 2, so it could come lower. Right? That's why it's so tricky with these situations. Or like I said, you're in a fourth wave, right? You're in a fourth wave, and then once you break down below 2796, then it's validated that we're going to, maybe 21. 21 bounce. Even through here, this 27 is, unless we're coming down through here, this 1850 range, because that's kind of the 1-2 setup for down here as well. So, there's some areas of concern, but there's also areas of it looks corrective. I know it's a coordinated effort to make sure it happens so quickly, because this is very quick, right? When you go down however much percent in a day, 6% in a day on a $366 billion asset, that's a lot in one day to go down. 3.5%, so about 10% in 2 days. That's a lot. That's over $30 billion. So it's like $37 billion in 2 days. So we have the levels that we need to hold for Ethereum. We have some target levels. Really need to get above this 34 so we can attack 43. All right, we really need to attack this. Get above this, and then you're up. You know, that's kind of the situation we're in. You're kind of just in a boxing match. Bulls and bears, you know, going sideways, kind of a war of attrition, battle of attrition, and trying to make it out on top. So, as always, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. These are just my ideas and my thoughts. So, Ethereum dominance. We're going to check out the 10-day on this. Kind of without, it doesn't have a lot of, you know, it doesn't have any, it has like a little bit of the, you know, the levels, but for the most part, we can just see price action as for what it is. And it looks good, right? Price action looks good. You have a V-shaped recovery. You have a nice 1-2 setup. So what are we in right now? It looks like we're in a fourth wave, and they're typically really annoying and drawn out and long. You can come all the way down to this 10% range, and you're still fine. It kind of looks like it wants to do that. That would coincide with Ethereum maybe falling a little bit more than Bitcoin, or Bitcoin rising more than Ethereum. So it's either one. So, you know, this chart can change in many ways. From what we just looked at, Ethereum does look like it kind of wants to continue a correction unless we see some sort of support or bounce. That's what I kind of feel like it's going to do. But right now, in terms of Ethereum dominance, you know, you've come up all the way to your 2. You've come up all the way to your 2 from, you know, just the overall move. From the overall move, you come all the way up to the 2. You know, when this asset reaches past the 1618 to the 2, it's a stronger move, right? It's a stronger move. You're looking for a shallow correction. 382, maybe, you know, I mean, if it's looking so much stronger, the 0.5, I mean, if you don't really want to see to 786, don't want to see that, because then it just takes a lot longer. It takes a lot longer, and it's on the verge of what we're seeing right now with Ethereum, where, you know, you have to make sure that you're staying disciplined with your stop losses. You have to make sure you're staying on top of whatever you're tracking and whatever you're invested in, because certain closes dictate the direction of movement, right? Certain closes dictate the direction of movement. And when you're at the 786, it's on the precipice of, you know, are we getting close to invalidating? Are we not getting close to invalidating? You know, are we going to make a lower low? Right? Because we haven't technically, for us to really think higher. Really think higher. I know this high was defeated, and that's really important, but it's this high. This is the high that really needs to be defeated. Kind of plateaued right from there. You had that double spike. You had that one rejection too, and then you went on this is on the 10-day, so that's a pretty significant drawdown in a pretty steep fashion, right? In a pretty steep fashion. So this was that November run that, you know, people were saying was alt season. It's right there. That's it. It's crazy to see on the chart. Then you see something like this, you're like, but Ethereum barely even went up. Well, I mean, it made almost new all-time highs. It surpassed the highs of November, but it didn't get up to a crazy level. For us to think of Ethereum dominance breaking out, we need to get above this 382. It's 12.58%. Okay, kind of looks like it's in a B wave, if I'm being honest, kind of like a 3-wave move, and then now we're headed down. Right, kind of that's the vibe I'm getting. We've had opportunities. That's the thing when assets squander opportunities, there's not grace period. It's not okay. You know what? You get a redo. We'll wait for you. It's well, Ethereum. You know, bulls attempted at it or tried to attempt at it. You know, maybe the market makers gave the illusion that there's a bull movement, maybe like a bull trap. But, you know, it didn't even, I mean, you crossed up above the RSI, couldn't hold the moving average, and you've been doing nothing. It's not like you've been tanking. It's not like you've been, you know, sort of speak, grinding down. You've been grinding nothing, right in between this 382.5 range. So pretty boring stuff on the markets. I remember, you know, covering it down through here, sideways markets for a lot of like the XLMs, those things. And I added the MACD. I might have to add another indicator. So if you have another one that, you know, that I could get to use, get to learn, just because it kind of gets not boring, but it's hard to provide more information than what is already being said, because we've been in this range. We've talked about this area. We've talked about this range, especially doubled down on that on the Patreon exclusive on Friday. We talked about Ethereum dominance. We talked about this, and it hasn't really done much since at all. Right? Kind of we're over here now. We're right there. It's kind of hanging out with that 20 in between two zones. So just indecisive right now. A lot of indecisiveness. And then in terms of, you know, Ethereum versus Bitcoin, just in general, just a comparative chart. I mean, this is a long consolidation, a rejection all the way to here. 1,200 days, like 4 years. All right, 4 years. You were above it. You could see that. You were above it with that wick. Now you're below it, which is fine. You're below it. You're in some sort of ABC. And then you can go. It's going to be crazy when it happens. I do believe that Ethereum, it's setting up for it. It's just takes patience. It takes patience. You know, people, I mean, market makers right now are dangling precious metals right over the people's eyes. You know, silver's going, I'm just very happy that I'm in silver, but uranium is going crazy. Copper is starting to go up. I mean, we all know about gold, but it's all the carrot right in front of the eyes. So in general, I tend to stay away from assets that are routinely in the news, that are routinely bullish, just because it typically is a sign of greed, and I sell into greed. That's the way I operate. I for sure sell into extreme greed, and silver is in extreme greed right now. So, but right now, if we get back to Ethereum, I just liken Ethereum and Stellar or XLM, things like that, to precious metals, which I do believe they'll be worth a lot in the future. But that's just my idea, my opinion. In terms of this, until we break above and close above this 50, then we're good. Then we're golden. We tried to hold it right through here, couldn't hold it, and this is that big rejection spot. The 50 has kind of sent us down to where we're at right now, a little bit of the underworld. Once we lost it right there, it's been a downtrend since. You know, and this is on the 10-day chart, so you know that's probably a year or two, maybe even longer, once we lost the 50. So we need to reestablish dominance over the 50 and then go. So, you know, I was calling for a January to February run, possibly March for smaller altcoins. You know, if it's January 20th, another couple candles. This candle closes today. So, you know, you need three more candles. That's another month. So, you know, it's timing is extremely difficult. I admit when I'm wrong all the time. Timing is difficult. The setup is still here. Nothing's invalidated yet for Ethereum. It feels like it's invalidated, but it's not. That's the market makers are doing their job very well. There's a green dot on the Fu Manchu. It doesn't feel like it, but bullish momentum is dying. You know, you're building some bearish momentum was slowing. You're building a little bearish momentum now, but that's okay. You need a little bit of bearish momentum before you get bullish. It's not just up only. It's not just down only. Just like going through here, right? It needed a little bit of bullish momentum to get slammed down. It needed a little bit of bullish momentum to get slammed down. It needed a little bullish momentum to slam down. Same concept. You need the opposite now. You need just a little bit. If it's sustained and continued, we have a problem. That's a problem, and I'll be the first to admit it. But right now, it's fine. It's brushing right up to the sell side wall. So, as always, I thank you for your time. I thank you for stopping by. If you're interested in either the Patreon or the Discord, the link will be in the description. We talk about charts. We talk about ideas. All are welcome. The Patreon, Tuesday through Thursday. The Patreon members vote. There's exclusive videos on Fridays. And we have a Profit Lab series and a macro outlook series, and then also there is chart updates throughout the week, so you don't have to wait on videos for your chart updates. So as always, like I say, thank you for your time. Thank you for stopping by. Take it easy. Peace.